Pantheon, when used with a capital letter, was a domed circular temple in Rome, built by Hadrian and used as a church since AD. It also could be defined as a public building containing tombs or memorials of the distinguished dead of a nation. It can also be defined as the place of the heroes or idols of any group, movement, or party, or the heroes and idols themselves, like our friend Hercules here. It also has the definition of any single temple dedicated to all the gods, or even the various gods of a religion itself. This word originated from late Middle English in the late 1300s and early 1400s.
There were many Greek gods and goddesses, 12 of which were the Olympians who resided on Mount Olympus. The one of the most famous Greek gods, the mighty Zeus, was the ruler of the Olympians, god of sky and rain, and the father of men. He played the role of unwittingly starting the Trojan War by assigning a mortal to choose who was the most beautiful goddess when a dispute came between Aphrodite, Hera, and Athena. He also occasionally aids Odysseus, as shown in the Odyssey.
Zeus's wife Hera was the goddess of marriage and birth, yet contradicting this, she was also extremely vindictive and jealous of Zeus's paramours, as well as the numerous affairs of Zeus's children. One of her most infamous acts of vengeance was when she attempted to murder Zeus's son Hercules by sending two venomous snakes into his crib, but failed in doing so. Hera was a minor part of the Odyssey and was barely mentioned. However, in the few scenes she was mentioned, Hera was manipulating Zeus and was depicted as jealous. Hera, however, played a major part in the Trojan War. After the Trojan prince Paris chose Aphrodite as the most beautiful goddess above her, she became extremely jealous and schemed with the other deities to bring down Troy.
Poseidon, the god of the sea, was known for having a vengeful and moody personality. He was the main antagonist of the Odyssey, as he despised Odysseus for blinding his son and interfered with Odysseus' journey home several times. In the Trojan War, Poseidon went against Zeus's orders and assisted the Greeks. Artemis was the goddess of the wilderness, hunting, and the moon. She is also known as the twin sister of Apollo. Additionally, she is also known for being a protector of young children, especially newborns. She fought with the Trojans against the Greeks during the Trojan War by calming the sea, which slowed the Greeks' ships in their arrival.
Apollo was the god of the sun, light, music, and prophecy. He is the twin brother of Artemis and is believed to have taught mortals the art of healing. His symbol of the laurel wreath was inspired by the nymph who he fell in love with. During the Trojan War, Apollo assisted the Trojans by infecting the Greek encampment with a plague, and also aided Paris in killing Achilles. Apollo didn't appear in the Odyssey, but is worshipped with many prayers and is thought to have killed many men and suitors in the Odyssey. Aphrodite was the goddess of love. She also represented beauty and fertility, and thus had many lovers. She was the main contributor as to why the Trojan War began, for she had offered Paris Helen of Sparta, whom the Prince of Troy was betrothed to. In the Odyssey, Aphrodite is caught in the act of cheating on her husband Hephaestus with Ares, the god of war. Ares is the god of war, although he is more known for representing the unpleasant aspects of war. Thus, he wasn't liked by the majority of men in Greece. He is a well-known lover of Aphrodite, and the two of them were even caught cheating by Aphrodite's husband. In the Trojan War, he took Aphrodite's side with the Trojans. In the Odyssey, Ares is mentioned once in a song about his infidelity, and how Hephaestus gets revenge on him with Poseidon.
Hephaestus is the god of fire, metalworking, and sculpting. He was known as the forger of many of the legendary weapons utilized by the gods, such as Cupid's arrows and the Aegis, which was the shield of Athena. He also made a trap for Aphrodite and Ares to capture them, when he discovered that Aphrodite was cheating on him, thus further displaying his dexterity. In the Trojan War, Hephaestus supported the Greeks by forging Achilles' new armor, after his old armor was stolen in the Odyssey. He isn't a main character, nor is he mentioned often, except for the song The Love of Ares and Aphrodite Crowned in Flowers, where he catches Ares and Aphrodite and punishes them with Poseidon. Hermes is the god of trade, thieves, and travel. He is also known for being a messenger between the mortal world and the immortal world. His swiftiness and craftiness is displayed in the Trojan War, where he also unwittingly contributed to the beginning of the Trojan War by leading Aphrodite, Athena, and Hera to Paris. He sided with the Greeks, but stood down when he was forced to face the goddess Leto, whom he deeply respected. In the Odyssey, he gave Odysseus the magical herb to protect him from Circe's magic, and also helped him convince Calypso to let him leave the island.
Hestia is the virgin goddess of the hearth, home, architecture, and family, and was represented by the fire burning in the hearth of every home, and therefore was worshipped everywhere. She wasn't as significant in Greek mythology as other Olympians. Hestia did not partake in the Trojan War and was not mentioned in the Odyssey.
The goddess of harvest, grains, and fertility is Demeter. She had one daughter whose name is Persephone. Persephone was kidnapped by Hades and kept in the underworld until her mother and Zeus found her and asked for her back. Hades gave her back, but also gave her a pomegranate which she ate, causing her to have to stay in the underworld for 6 months every year. This is what the Greeks used to explain winter and fall, or the colder and desolate times of the year. Demeter did not take part in the Trojan War and is not mentioned in the Odyssey, except for one time in Book 5 where Calypso mentions her and all the other gods. Dionysus was often referred to as the god of wine, in addition to the grape harvest and vines. He was worshipped alongside Demeter, and they were considered the deities of the earth. Many festivals were held in their honor, which had performances and plays of comedy and tragedy. Dionysus usually stayed peaceful, but when enraged, he caused his worshippers to go into a frenzy, killing others. During the Trojan War, he sided with the Greeks, supplying Aeneas, son of Apollo, with endless supplies of food and wine. However, he is not mentioned in the Odyssey and made no significant contributions. Nectar and ambrosia were believed to be eaten and drunk by the Olympians. Both were considered to be divine foods that had sacred powers. For example, nectar would bestow the gift of immortality to any mortal who drank it. For this reason, stealing nectar was a severe offense that was punishable with eternal hunger and thirst. Ambrosia followed the same rules as a delicacy of the gods, made from honey, water, fruit, cheese, olive oil, and barley. Once a son of Zeus named Tantalus stole the god's nectar and ambrosia after he was invited to dine with the gods. This resulted in a punishment of eternal hunger and thirst in the underworld. Pretty neat stuff. Another popular myth involves an alternate origin of the immortality of Achilles, where his mother was attempting to immortalize him by smearing his body with ambrosia. However, his father stopped her, causing her to miss Achilles' heel, and thus creating Achilles' only weakness.